How are ya, folks? We're about to start here very shortly in another few minutes. Of course, though, as I do at the top of every show, I've got mine and my kids, or my kids and I should say, GoFundMe on the screen here. Raised $510 so far, still a long ways to go. Big move ahead, obviously. But I just wanted to say thanks and send out appreciation to everybody that's shared it out, continues to share it out, that's donated so far as well. Sharing out or even donating $1. Every little bit counts. And the kids and I are very grateful. I know Trin's also very grateful. If you don't know my story, you can find it as well as video on the GoFundMe page. Links at the top of both mine and Trin's Twitter, or the app formerly known as Twitter, pages. You can also find it on Carlos' Twitter, Charlie Hustle's Twitter, and I'm pretty sure a few others like Pong Soul, Cerebral Paul also have shared it out. But if you continue sharing it out, it is greatly appreciated. And again, thank you so much. But let's get the party started, hey? And we'll see you all you wrestling fans, young and old, here in a few moments. Thank you again. Welcome, all you wrestling fans, young and old, to the 18th episode of the Pop-Up Powerbomb podcast. I'm your host, the breathtaking one, Spooky. Tonight, wrestling fans, we share our thoughts on some interesting topics, including going over arguably the worst pay-per-view of 2023 in Crown Jewel. Me and Paul are going to rant, and boy, are we going to rant about Roman Reigns, boring, predictable matches, and much, much more. I've got my coffee. I hope all yous have got your drinks and snacks kicking up, because buckle in, because story time, the breathtaking one, the cerebral one, and possibly Dion is about to begin. And here is one of the men themselves, Paul. How you been, man? I know we got a lot to say on these few topics tonight, brother.
Yeah, I used Crown Jewel to go to sleep this weekend. It was great.
It's your lullaby.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. Other than that, I'm doing good. Like I said, and we talked about in chat. There was one match I really enjoyed because we actually did something that I kind of thought they were gonna do, but now we'll see how long it holds. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
for all we
indeed.
know, he could come out tonight and lose the belt.
That'd be funny. That'd be funny.
I mean, they did it 3 weeks ago with the tag team one. So what the
Yes,
hell?
yes, so true, brother, so true.
Yeah.
And just a little tidbit before we do get into the three topics this evening. Two of which are going to be big ones, which is the pay per view and Roman discussion. But just late news. CM Punk. So this whole thing with him at WWE doesn't seem to be going away. We've talked about it before that apparently it was rumored that they rejected his council's wanting to come back, but apparently now speculation's intensifying ahead of Survivor Series 2023, which, if I'm not mistaken, actually takes place in Chicago. And this one's coming from Wrestling News Source, which is a good website to source from. They said, as we previously reported, there have been discussions regarding the return of CM Punk to WWE. However, despite the athlete's purported interest in coming back, WWE has declined his offer. And at this time, his return remains uncertain still. Yet the dynamics between Punk and WWE remain fluid, suggesting that the current stance could change, and could change very, very quickly. Recent developments, especially over the weekend, have shed more light on the situation. A wrestling insider known as Boozer, who tweets under the moniker Better Wrestling Experience, or BWE, on the Twitter X platform, shared an insightful update on the matter. And in past speculation on certain things going in the wrestling world, he's had a good track record of being 90% correct. Boozer said Punk was recently scheduled for a call with WWE board members. Backstage feeling is it's happening. Doesn't mean it's done just yet. He said, I am waiting for the follow-up on the call. It should be the last step before things go down. Now pace yourselves. Those few weeks will be ruckus. Lots of teasers on TV and social. There's already been teasers on TV. Shinsuke Nakamura are doing the GTS on the Rampway recently, and there's been a few other pickups of little hints that Punk could be, WWE's way of doing these little hints that Punk could be on his way. They'll milk it like crazy, so enjoy it until I get a solid answer. So in response to speculation that a deal had already been finalised, BWE further commented, it could be, and I could be misled to hype the story. I trust this specific source. They've been 95% correct in the past. So further fueling the rumours, Punk dropped hints about his potential return during his recent MMA commentary at the Cage Fury Fighting Championship. Notably, one of Punk's fellow commentators made a total non-stop action reference, and another was spotted with a WWE logo on his jacket. Interesting considering it looked like it was dead in the water. There was no interest on WWE's behalf. But interesting that this all comes to light now when we're weeks away from Survivor Series in Chicago. So it'd be interesting to see how it plays out. I've picked up on some hints. I don't know if you have yourself, Paul, but I've picked up on some hints. And I guess, like you always say in wrestling, you never say never, I guess.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. All I know is if he signs, he's got to know in his head that the BS that he's pulled elsewhere, he ain't going to be able to pull that shit here. And he's not going to have the type of control that he had elsewhere here. He's going to have to do as basically as he's told, I suppose, as the writers.
I seriously hope they put that crap in his contract if they do re-sign him. I swear to God.
Oh, yeah. You don't want the power going in his head. But first things first, before we get into two real juicy topics. But this one is actually pretty juicy. Now, I know you probably didn't see this, but you may have heard about it. I was actually watching the...
well, I was going to respond to the CM Punk thing a little bit first.
Before go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not a big CM Punk fan. I think I think he kind of got what he deserved. And for him to get already, here, we're going to sign you even though all the crap you've been pulling. Part of me hopes he doesn't let that go to his head. But at the same time, I think that he needs to remember that he needs the WWE way more than they need him right now.
Oh yeah.
They don't need him to put butts in the seats at all.
No.
He better not be expecting to do the Logan Paul, I did 8 matches, now I want a belt crap.
If I was them, there's a better name out there that they're also very, very heavily rumored to sign. He's younger. He's probably arguably the best wrestler in the world today. I think they should focus and really heavily focus on Will Ospreay. You could make him the next face of your company and he could run with it for the next 10, 15 years. He's in his mid to late 20s, I believe.
Right. Which means you don't have to be in a hurry to do that either.
No. This guy has had some fantastic matches we've seen. He's wrestled the best of the best in Japan. He's wrestled Bryan Danielson, Kenny Omega. This young man is just, to steal AJ's terminology, AJ Styles, he is phenomenal as well. This kid can wrestle any style. He's great on the microphone as well. I think the WWE style, though, would be, especially now that he's a young father, would be easier on his body. Because, I know I've seen him in some brutal matches. And he only knows one pace, Will Ospreay.
But see, I'd like to see a little bit of his brutality brought over to WWE.
Yes, I would too. Before. I would too, yeah.
The WWE is almost too soft now, you know.
and this, he only knows one pace too. So whoever gets in the ring with him better keep up. he moves very fast.
There's not any of those 30-second. Let me stand here and schmooze to the audience while the guy recovers.
He is
we saw a lot of that this weekend too. We saw a lot of that.
Will Ospreay's like watching something on fast forward. Honestly, he just moves that quickly. But no, moving into the first topic, and this is really doing the rounds in the wrestling world, and I feel sorry to a degree for Billy Corgan. NWA was on the verge of a huge TV deal with the CW, and now it's reportedly up in arms, reportedly in flux, following a drug-related pay-per-view spot going viral that happened at that pay-per-view, which I've seen. And if indeed what was being snorted on live pay-per-view was actually being snorted, this TV deal could be shot to shit. So, for those that don't know, NWA, it was announced in October that the National Wrestling Alliance, which has been around for years, Billy Corgan purchased it, the lead singer of Smashing Pumpkin, reportedly signed a TV deal with the CW. This was after NWA President Billy Corgan indicated on Busted Open Radio that the NWA signed a TV deal with a top 20 network. The deal would see the CW air their weekly show NWA Power and a reality television series as well as their pay-per-views. It now appears, though, that their TV deal might be in serious jeopardy. According to an exclusive report from House of Wrestling, executives within the company at the CW were very, very upset over what happened during the Sam Hain pay-per-view. During the show, there was a controversial segment that involved longtime manager. He was better known and well known in the early days of TNA. He managed the wrestler Abyss, Father James Mitchell, snorting cocaine with a bunch of girls. Mitchell was the host of the Halloween-themed show, of course, and per the report, the segment was apparently the idea of Corgan. After it happened, the C-Dub on social media received comments from furious fans. While there hasn't been an official statement about the backlash that NWA received, the promotion did react to the show in general, tagging Mitchell in the process. They wrote a few days after the pay-per-view on X, getting a lot of cool messages from people. We're glad everyone had such a blast at the pay-per-view. Everybody's excited, and definitely. So they kind of just went over the whole segment, really. They glossed over it. Kyle Davis, who was one of the NWA color commentators during the segment, retweeted the video of what was happening on X with the caption, things got a little out of control this week at NWA Sam Hain, and this very much what the NWA brand was in the 80s, FYI. And whilst
he retweeted the questionable video.
Yes,
that's not a good look.
No, and said, and he quoted it and said, and this is very much what the NWA brand was like in the 80s. Now, what was okay in the 80s does not mean it's still okay in the 2000s and 20s, because it's just not, especially with these TV networks. You could get away with a lot of shit back in the day. You know, a lot of shit back in the 80s, like that they could literally, the women, for example, could literally pull their tits out and get away with it. Even into the 90s with the Attitude Era, right? But there's a lot of stuff that was done in the Attitude Era even that you could not get away with today. There's a lot of stuff, say, for example, that The Rock said in his promos. If he said it today, WWE would be sued the pants off of him, right?
Yeah. I cannot imagine that even in the 80s that any wrestling outfit would have got away with showing them snort cocaine and do drugs on a pay-per-view.
No.
I know. There's no way in hell.
No. Backstage, I don't doubt what they were doing. You know, they were juicing at the time. You know, they were still juicing in the 90s too. Yeah. But House of Wrestling was also reportedly told that now there is a 90% chance that both the reality TV series and their weekly show, which was said in the report being fully paid for by Corgan, might not make it to television now.
Now Impact has an opening.
You know, there's another network. I mean, the C-Dub, doesn't matter how you feel about it, is a top 20 network.
Yep.
So, you know, getting on there, you would be seen, well, you'd be seen a hell of a lot more than what you're seeing currently on Access TV, right? So, this is ridiculous. I thought the spot was ridiculous. I didn't think there was any need to it. I mean, they panned out to it during a match. I'm like, you're supposed to be focused on the match. Now, don't get me wrong, I love NWA style. They go for a real old school, like even their backdrop, right? It's very 80s feel to it, right? Even the way they film, it's very 80s. I love it. I think it's cool the way they film it and everything. And I think there's a place for them. But this has really put a spanner in the works. And if indeed Billy Corgan okayed it, I want to know what the hell he was smoking or snorting himself, because I mean, Christ, man, like,
you can't think that's a good idea. I don't care who you are. There's no way.
It's not even wrestling related. Like, what are you trying to say? Like, you know, you're trying to push the drugs okay, kid. Now, like, no, that's not a message. Considering, you know, AEW's, you know, done messages on that. WWE's a big proponent of, you know, don't do drugs or don't do this, you know, and it's different times. It really is different times. Like, as I said, maybe, and I only say maybe, I wouldn't say definitely, but maybe you could have got away with something like this in that. Maybe. But that was a different time. We're talking, what, 30-something, 40-something years ago.
Well,
different
40,
time.
dude.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a different time. It really was. It was a different age, and you know, as I said, like there, and even in the '90s with the Attitude Era, there was things you could say and you could do, and you could get away with it. Like
Yeah.
Vince McMahon, as we know, got away in that era of the '90s saying the N word. You know what I mean? Like.
Uh,
Uh,
but openly juicing or doing drugs was never
No,
okay,
no,
ever.
no. So I'm really disappointed, and I think everybody involved and Billy Corgan, as I said, okay, like they're all idiots. Now you've just possibly thrown away a chance of going national with your
well, like I said, and the
product.
one who retweeted it and said, "Well, this is how it was,"
Yeah.
dude. Somebody needs to tell you to shut the.
One of the commentators who's a former wrestler, one of the commentators who was a former wrestler for him, you could see how uncomfortable he was. And he was trying to divert the commentary and the attention back to the ring and back to the wrestling.
Right.
And the other two commentators just kept talking about and like, oh, they're having a party over there. Yeah. And he's just like,
I'm actually looking to see if I can find the clip because I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But...
And the other poor guy's sitting there, as I said, the former wrestler, he's like, oh, I don't even want to know. You know, let's move on. You know, and hey, Timmy, what's good, bro? It was messed up, bro.
Yeah. Because even if they weren't really doing what they were shown to be doing, but
even just looking like, exactly, even just looking like it. And he whatever powder it was, a white powder, but whatever it was, he was snorting. Like they zoomed that close in, you could see him use the tubular thing, and he was snorting whatever it was. I'm telling you now, either way, it doesn't really matter. That's not a good look.
Yeah.
Not a good look at all.
No.
And it's not the industry, especially with a lot of the backlash that this industry over the decades has had on certain things, whether it's been the juicing and the drugs and the concussions and, you know, alcohol abuse and painkiller abuse, you know, all the stuff with Benoit, the way Eddie Guerrero went out, you know, like all that. I mean, that was all drug related and everything, like, you know, prescription. Like,
I remember even when Stone Cold was big, there was even a lot of question: is that really beer that he's chugging? You know,
you know.
But the thing with that is, if you really watch him, he wasn't really drinking a lot of that beer.
No, it was just going all over it, and it was a light beer anyway. It was definitely beer because you could tell because of when it came out, the froth and the foam and that.
Yeah. But he wasn't actually chugging the stuff.
No, he might have got a few little bits down his throat,
Yeah.
but other than that, it was more going down his shirt. His shirt ended up soaked because of
Yeah.
You know.
But even then, I remember it was questioned. You know,
but
is that really a good look? Is that something?
No, well, I tell you what, I'd rather
see.
I'd rather them do something like that with light beer than, you know, drugs. You know, because at the end of the day, alcohol is, well, once you're of legal age, it's legal. You know.
Yeah. It's not the same as snorting cocaine.
No. So it was not a good look. And I agree with you. It now really opens the door for TNA. As we mentioned last time, they should give Fox a call. But as I said, if Fox doesn't want to take them up, the CW would be obviously wants wrestling, and if they're not if they're gonna cancel their commitment here with the NWA, TNA.
Yeah, because the CW is looking for some stuff because you know a lot of their live action shows reached their end this last season with the strike and everything. So
and Superman Lois is about to be the last DC one of theirs to finish up. So I mean they're looking for something. Hey, maybe that might be the network. I mean, he did do many seasons of Arrow that Stephen Amell should shop.
Somebody, we need to message TNA Impact.
Yeah.
Say hey.
and I was just saying, Stephen Amell being on Arrow on the C-Dub for so long, maybe he should reach out to them about heels and them taking on heels.
Oh, that would be cool. Could you imagine that as like a Friday night thing? You open up with heels and you go into 2 hours of TNA or Impact?
Yeah. See? Perfect little block, bro. Perfect.
Yep.
But moving on to the second of our topics of the evening, Crown Jewel discussion.
Ooh, let me crack my knuckles for this one. Yeah,
you know, as you said, apart from one match for yourself, arguably the worst pay-per-view this year. It really was. There's a lot of predictability. There's a lot of boring matches, especially the main event. Um, but let's go through it anyway. So on the pre-show, um, and to be quite honest,
Which I admit I did not see the pre-show match,
no,
so I'm
the
on
pre-show
the.
match I thought was, in my opinion, was the best, one of the best matches of the night. It was on the damn pre-show. Sami Zayn and JD McDonough in a 10-minute match, took it to each other and put on a bit of a show. The crowd got into it, and so I've got to give those two fellas, something. I feel sorry that they were relegated because they are both great talents to the pre-show, but
Yeah.
this was finally a bigger card by
Yeah.
WWE. We're used to seeing only a 4 or 5 match card. This was an 8 match card altogether.
Yep.
Then of
And
course
Sami Zayn is really coming to his own too.
he has, he has definitely. Then of course we had Seth frickin' Rollins taking on Drew Mack, and of course Seth retained. How did you feel about that match for the World Heavyweight Championship, brother?
I think parts of it were pretty good.
Yeah.
Though I did think they were going to do something that I said they might do, and you were like, no. When Mr. Money in the Bank came out, and I thought, well, are they actually going to do this at the end of the match? And then no, of course not. Then Zayn comes out and interrupts it.
Yeah, Zayn comes and steals the briefcase.
Yeah,
I thought that was funny.
Which they explained tonight. They explained on tonight's show, but I was really hoping they were going to do that. But no, that's like the second or third time he's tried to do a cash in, and he's been quote interrupted.
Yeah, I still think that he's going to cash in and fail. I just get this feeling he's going to cash in and fail.
Yeah.
But look, the match did what it was meant to do. I did actually think Drew Mack, they may have gave him the win because Seth's had the belt since they've made the belt. He's had a really good run so far, and he's done really wonders to really set that title up nicely. And I think Drew Mack winning would have been a nice little feat. Not that Seth's losing any popularity or anything like that, but
right.
We've already got too many champions that are having real long runs here, and you don't want to become boring or predictable. So I actually did think WWE might have, pulled a bit of a, a lot of people going into, Seth's probably going to go over, and I would have liked to see Drew Mack even go heel in the match, but it didn't end up happening. But you had two fantastic wrestlers going at it.
Yeah.
They put
on it actually wasn't. It wasn't too bad of a match, actually.
No, it wasn't.
It really wasn't. They.
Yeah. And then we had the fatal 5-way match. This was as predictable as you could ever get. And I really didn't get into the match at all.
No, me neither. I'm sorry, dude. I was bored.
Yeah,
I was
bored. It was horrible. It was probably one of the worst women's matches I've seen, and I'm all for the women's matches because whether it's WWE, AEW, even TNA, you got a lot of fantastic female wrestlers out there with a lot of talent. But that was just a ball fest. It really was, and it was short for a fatal 5-way.
For a fatal 5-way was really short.
Yes.
Holy crap.
Yeah. Usually you get those type of matches, and you get a good 20 minutes usually.
Yeah.
And,
but then again, remember where they were and what they, to the point
and look,
they were all wearing long leotards and they were all,
exactly
totally covered up.
So it was just crap. Everybody, I think, knew Rhea was going to win. I think everybody's come to the realization, especially because they're doing Elimination Chamber out in Perth. She probably won't drop the title anytime soon. I think they'll keep the title on her to come out here with it. The match that surprised me with the end result is the next match. Solo going over John. I didn't see that coming. And I didn't
Me neither, because that's a
kind
of an ugly way to bid farewell to John Cena.
It was. And I didn't really like the match either. I thought the match was going to be a lot better. And it just wasn't. And I think I sort of came away from this too going, okay, I think John really should probably just fully hang it up and go fully Hollywood, because even he wasn't on top of his game. I just wasn't
No.
feeling this in any sense at all. And we know from Cena matches in the past, he usually brings that energy as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Something was amiss with him. And
Yep. Well,
something.
and for me, at the end, even when after Solo won,
Yeah.
it was like all the noises and the stuff he was saying. I'm like, okay, even for you, this seemed a little bit of
And I don't think,
disrespectful.
you know what, just like with Austin Theory, I don't think Cena did anything for Solo. I don't think that win does
Right.
anything for Solo.
It doesn't.
I seen some
Absolutely not.
fans go, "Oh, it makes him look unbeatable." I'm sitting there going, "How many times have we seen him lose? He's not unbeatable.
Yeah.
We've seen him, you know." So it did nothing. I think this
Yeah.
next match is something that you want to talk about. Logan Paul, and I called this. I did call this. Logan
Yeah,
Paul.
which I think is bullshit. Okay, I'm just gonna throw that
No,
out there.
I called this because I said
I
if
know
they
you
were
called
going-
it. I still
if they
think
were-
it's bullshit.
If they were going to give him a title, it would only be a mid-card title, which the United States Championship is.
Yeah.
Him going over Rey Mysterio, I had a feeling eventually they were going to put a title around his waist. I just didn't know if it was going to be the Intercontinental or if it was going to be...
But he's only had. See, what I don't like is he's only had 8 matches. Some of these guys have been doing this for a decade.
One thing I
You
will
know?
say, the one thing I will say, and I've said this before, whether you like him or you hate Logan Paul, I actually wish he became... It doesn't necessarily have to be full time, but close to full time as he possibly could get, because the dude is entertaining and the dude can actually wrestle, and I've got to give the man credit. He puts in the... You can tell he trains his ass off. He puts in the... And he's obviously got some passion and love there for it.
Yeah.
Because he's actually good. This is not a David Arquette moment here.
No, but no. What I don't. I think what I don't like about it is they never put his matches within a storyline. It's just
No. This match
I'm
was kind of
nasty.
thrown
I'm an
together.
asshole. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm nasty. I'm an asshole, and I want to wrestle that guy.
And
Okay,
the other
great.
thing is this match also fell flat. It did not live up to
especially
what-
at the end. Especially
Yeah.
at the end. Oh, I hated the end.
Yeah,
Dude.
it did not live up to it. I thought there was going to be more high-flying spots, especially with these two involved. We've seen better matches with Logan Paul,
Yeah.
especially with like him and Ricochet. And I think now that he's got the United States shot, I think that's the program. We're going to get more of that, because they're not finished with each other yet, those two.
Nope.
And it'll probably be a better match.
The only thing I'm worried about with him is he's going to be another Roman Reigns, and he's only going to be a part-time champion.
He is.
Only
Look,
thing I'm
I
worried
will
about.
be okay with it if he at least shows up more than what Roman shows up. I'll be okay with it. Look, we know he's not going to wrestle on the weekly shows. That's a given. That just
Right.
plays into his heel character. But if he defends more and at least shows up more, I'll be all right with it. I'll be all right with it. Because I know, obviously, he's got to juggle this and he juggles his boxing.
Right.
So,
Right.
which he's also good at. That was a shock.
Which
to
is
me.
kind of funny
You know.
because, by doing both, he's actually putting himself at risk for both.
Yeah,
Because if he
is.
injures himself wrestling, he can't box, and if he
No,
injures
so,
himself boxing,
yeah,
he can't
exactly.
wrestle.
And they gave them... See, another reason I expected it, but they almost went 20 minutes. So that's why I was expecting a better match. But again, it was another match on this card that was just meh. It really was.
But they telegraphed the ending so bad, though, dude. They really did.
They did.
My
They did.
God,
It was
they
horrible.
telegraphed.
It was horrible. Next match, we had the WWE Women's Championship with Io defeating Bianca Belair because of a returning Kairi Sane.
Yes.
That was interesting. The one thing I found interesting too was there was absolutely no reaction to her showing up.
None.
Yeah, crickets. Absolute crickets.
I don't think anybody knew who she was. Dude.
No, I think people forgot who she was. Put it this way: if the event had been held in Japan, it would have been a different story. But
Yep.
yeah. And
I could just see it. The guys at the announce table, announcer. Oh my God! And then the guys behind the announcer tapping on the shoulder, going, "Who is that?
Who is that?" Yeah. And look, I thought this was the better women's match, but that's again not saying much. I still felt that this match also fell flat.
Yep.
as I said, this whole pay-per-view, I mean, obviously
Yep.
they just go there for
And really,
the blood
personally,
money.
I think Bianca's a better wrestler. I like watching Bianca
Yes.
more than I like
Yes.
watching.
But,
I thought Bianca should have won, actually, personally,
yeah.
but I said that
Yeah.
last week. I said,
I don't think
you know,
anybody's invested in Io Sky as the champ. I don't
no,
think that she doesn't even get a reaction herself. If they were going to put it on anyone in that group, they would have been better off with Bailey because at least she gets a
yeah,
reaction. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But again, it was another match that fell flat, and like this pay per view, as I said, it seems more and more that they just went there for the blood money and put on a half-ass show, and they just told the talent go out there and just go at half pace and
I
don't
would
go and
think
hurt
that some of
yourself.
that is some of that may be the constraints of the Saudi government, what they allow. But then
Yeah,
again,
yeah, exactly. Of course, we had a very short match too with Cody and Damian Priest. Again, I wasn't really impressed with it. I thought
no, but it ended the way I thought it would.
no, yeah, it did end the way, and Cody surprisingly kind of had to carry that match, which I was surprised because
Yeah,
even though I say Priest isn't a main eventer, he still doesn't take away that he's still a good worker.
right.
He can wrestle and put on a match,
Yep.
and I don't know if it was just constraints on the time for him or not, because I would have liked to seen him have a bit longer
Yep.
than 11 minutes.
What's interesting for me is now get this. So when Cody signed up for WWE, they promised him a title run.
Mm.
So in the last month now, he's had 2 titles. I'm
Yeah.
serious. It's like
Yeah.
they're gonna run him through the whole gambit. Somehow they're gonna find a way to give him the women's championship. Who knows? Yeah.
put him in gold dust costume with the wig.
We're gonna give him all the titles. Now it's
Yeah.
gonna be interesting to see how long he retains this one.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think him and Jay would have the tag titles too long. I thought maybe a little bit longer than
Okay.
what they did, but
Yeah, longer than 4 days. Yeah, I would
Yeah.
have thought so.
yeah,
Yeah.
whole sneeze, But again, so as I said, so far out of the matches we've gone through, the only one that was sort of half decent was the Seth Rollins Drew McIntyre match. Really,
Yeah.
Everything else just yeah. And of course, we're going to talk about this last match, and then it'll lead obviously into our final topic, which we can go on a rant. Roman Reigns, once again, in same old fashion, defeating LA Knight. This match,
Let's call it what it is. LA Knight versus the Bloodline, because it never.
the only thing good about this whole match was LA Knight did shine. And I was glad that they didn't just have him get squashed on that. And I think he still keeps momentum because at the end of the day, it took how many people to technically take him down.
Yep.
This it just look. We all know. Anytime Roman between now and at least WrestleMania is having a singles match, it's pretty much a given he's gonna win, right? But
Yep.
for goodness sake,
So I am torn between just don't let him wrestle, or I'd like to see him wrestle and possibly lose the damn belt. You know?
But here's my thing, and I think you would certainly shock some people because we're all gotten used to the same frickin' formula with this. Have him frickin' win by himself. He's built like a damn brick shithouse, right?
Yeah.
He has had matches before where he had, in this whole run, in this whole I remember, he has had matches where there was stipulation, the bloodline's got to stand back, and he has actually won. But it's been ages since I've seen this man
I was
going to
say, in the 2 years I've been back to watching wrestling, I've never seen him win without help.
But this is the thing. No, I'm telling you now. For at least, especially the last 18 months, he always has won with help, right? Have him. I know he's a heel, but a heel can win without help. There's been plenty of heels that have done it, right? They might do a dirty tactic themselves. Sure, you can still have him blow someone, then spear the pants off of them, right? But I think you would shock that crowd and shock the viewers if you had him win with no help from Solo or Jimmy. That would be shocking enough because we've gotten so used to it, as I said, especially in the last 18 months of this run, of interference. it would put a shock on people's faces. It wouldn't be the big shock like
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar ending the streak kind of shock, but
Yeah.
you would shock people because we were all going to go in there thinking, yeah, he's going to win by this way, and then we'd all be like, oh, okay. Now this is a bit different. Like, okay, he still wins, but he can win clean. He can win by himself. Like, granted, if he blows, it's still unclean, but at least he'd be still doing it on his own.
It's funny because I actually responded to his tweet after he won. He said something like unbeatable or something. And I went, unbeatable if you mean I can't win without help. And boy, did I get yelled at.
Yeah, you know what the funny thing is? Now, this is...
Well, let me just tell you, the response I got was, what do you mean? What's his name didn't touch LA Knight. LA Knight touched him. He was just going out there to check on Roman. Yeah. I'm like, I wanted to go, he yanked Roman out of the ring while Paul was distracting the ref. Okay, that's interference. Okay, that's not checking on Roman. Plus, he had no business being out there to begin with.
No.
It's like, so no, it's still interference. It's still bullshit.
Exactly. So before we get on to our rant about him, look, what would you rate out of 5 stars yourself? What would you rate the pay-per-view?
Probably 2.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm right there. 1.5, 2 stars, man, because this, as I said, was just going over there for a cash grab. I mean, we've said for the longest time the whole Saudi deal that they signed for 10 was blood money. And I've seen better crown jewels. This just felt like, let's get on a plane. We just go out there. Don't go too hard. We don't want you to injure yourselves. And let's get the hell out.
I will say that it'll be interesting to see because a lot of that blood money was because of Vince, and now that he's out of the picture, we'll see if this continues. We'll see.
Well, he's just helped UFC broker a deal to put on a UFC event over there. They actually used Vince.
Oh, well, so much for that.
Yeah, they actually used Vince because obviously they seen how he got the deal done with the Saudis, and obviously they probably looked at it, well, you've already done deals with the Saudis before. Help us get UFC over there. So, look, I'm with you. 1.5 to 2 stars, no more than 2 stars. Like, it was just a bore fest. It really was. Like, I was struggling to stay awake for it or not. Well, even that, turn it off and go do something else.
Look, the only matches I really paid attention to were Cody's.
Yeah.
Roman's and the first match. What's his name? That I'm
Put it this way, it makes Survivor Series easy to beat this. And look, they need, after this shambles that they put on, they really do need to up their game because this would have left a bit of a bad taste in any wrestling fans, or especially if it's a WWE fans mouth, because you're used to seeing them put on some good shows, and this was just crap. I mean, honestly, it felt. And I think
I was pretty much right. Only one belt changed hands, right? The one Cody won.
Yeah.
Out of six belts, or 5 or 6.
Yeah, 5 belts are on the line, 1 changed hands.
5 belts on the line, only 1 changed hands, which is pretty much kind of what I said was going to happen last week.
Yeah.
Even though I said I did say nothing will change. Okay, one thing changed.
Yeah, one thing. Oh man, it was such predictable. Like it just really was. I mean, the only other match on there that I thought could, as I said, and I said it last week when we would sort of speculate on, the Bianca Belair Sky match could have gone either way. But everything else, in my opinion, I mean, I had a feeling Logan Paul the whole time was going to go over Ray, myself. I knew Rhea was going to retain. I had a feeling, even though I wanted Drew Mac to win, I had a feeling Seth would probably likely retain. We knew Roman was going to retain. We knew Cody was definitely going to go over Priest because they're obviously, building him up for that story to finish the story. As I said, the only match, and even though the match wasn't, the only result, even though the match was still very tiresome and boring, that got me was Solo going over John. I seriously thought that the way that they were sort of built up, and it wasn't the greatest build regardless, but the way they kind of did it, I thought, geez, and because they had John mention how long it had been since he'd won a singles match, I thought, it's not going to hurt to have John Cena go. I mean, he's one of the greatest of all time. Surely you can give him a win here, especially because it's not a win for a title. It was really a nothing match. Like, I was kind of annoyed at them that they had him go over Mr. Vanilla. Had Mr. Vanilla go over him at WrestleMania. Austin Theory, I would have had John Cena beat him because, he's just vanilla. But, that's the only one that really, result-wise, kind of shocked me. And again, as I said, it really doesn't do anything for Solo.
No.
And
if anything, like I said, after the match, it made Solo look very disrespectful towards Cena.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
it really did, and that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. You know?
Yeah, exactly. And maybe this is the last we've seen of John for a little while, especially now. Obviously everything's going again in Hollywood, so he's probably got some more projects in the works, I would imagine. But it's a sad way. If this indeed was his last match for at least a while, because until he actually says he's retired from the ring fully, then
right.
Anything's possible. But I think he probably is done now. Maybe done until WrestleMania. Maybe they have him have a match at WrestleMania with somebody.
The one thing I could see him doing is, if again, it's going to come into older, newer. Let him do a tag team with one of the younger guys against the Bloodline, and kick his ass that way. Kick Solo's ass that way.
Before he hangs it up, right? He's tied with Ric Flair, right? Before he hangs it up, I don't give a crap if it's even just a month's reign. I want to see him get a 17th world title. I don't care whose world title it is, whether it's Seth's or Ray. I want to see John Cena break Flair's record.
That would be nice.
It would be. I think he deserves it. I know that Charlotte's probably going to beat her father's record, but that's with females.
But here's the thing with Cena. Cena was the face of the company.
Yeah,
he's still.
You're not going to get anybody in the men's.
Yeah.
Get close.
He's
to
still
that
one of the
16.
most requested wishes that any answers to all those damn wishes.
You probably never again, or at least in our lifetime, never going to see another male wrestler get close to that 16. I think the only next person close, I think Randy Orton's had 12 or 13 title runs.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're going to see Randy probably get another bloody go at a world champ. I'd love to see him, but I don't know if we will. But look, you got John tied with Rick. And they're at the and the reason why I say this, other than he deserves it and deserves to have that record, is the most world title reigns. WWE seems to be on a bit of a thing here right now of breaking old records. Obviously, they've had Gunter smash the Honky Tonk Man's record for IC title length of reign. They're obviously, by the seams of it, having Rhea set a record for the longest reign of a women's championship. Roman, as we're well aware. So they seem to be wanting to rewrite history books here. Ric Flair has had that record for decades now. John's right there beside him. There needs to be the tiebreaker, and obviously Ric Flair ain't going to get a 17. All right.
Because I got to say, the only way they're ever going to break Bruno Sammartino's record is if somebody starts wrestling at like the age of 12. And
that's what I've seen someone say. And you know what? I as much as I hated saying it, I agree. If they have Roman win at next year's WrestleMania, they may as well just bloody continue and have him beat Bruno. They may as well, because God, if you're not going to have him drop it there.
But if they do that, my God, come up with a story.
Yeah.
Make him show up more than once every 2 months.
Didn't Bruno, the only problem with it is, didn't Bruno have it for like 7 to 9 years?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that's a long time, man. Especially today.
And it's a different time from the 60s and the 70s.
And I mean, next year's WrestleMania for him is 4 years for Roman. I mean, that's a bloody long time.
Can you imagine doing another 4 or 5 years? No, I cannot.
No. God, no. But look, that moves us into our last topic. Now we can fully let loose. I know you've been wanting to let loose on this. Roman Reigns matches rant here. Look, I'll kickstart it a bit here. This freaking formula, this predictable formula of him going in there, likely crushing somebody, having Heyman do his interference, having coming towards the end of the match, and either Solo or Jimmy or both running out, interfering every single time. It is boring. Now, look, I'll say this straight up. I've never been a Roman Reigns fan. Even in NXT, before he got brought up to the main roster and put with Seth and John Moxley, formerly known as Dean Ambrose at the time with the Shield, he is boring as watching paint dry on a wall. He is not an excitable wrestler at all. He does not have a great moveset. What's he got? Like, if we're being...
that stupid Superman punch, which you can tell has no power.
I'm going to say he has somewhere between five to 8 moves. And I mean, people used to pick on John Cena of his 5 moves of doom, right? Roman Reigns hasn't got any more than 8 moves that we see him use. You know, maybe a suplex, maybe a German suplex. I think he does a powerbomb on the odd occasion. His spear, his Superman punch. Oh, and that thing that he does on the outside where he jumps up and kicks you in the face. Other than that, he does his he tries to do his best Undertaker with his uppercuts too. Again, I've mentioned 5, 6 freaking moves.
Yeah.
Like, he is boring. His matches now, you know, maybe in the first year and a half of this reign, people were finding this whole thing cool, and, you know, people weren't whinging about, he's having interference in a lot of his matches, rah, rah. We're up to year 3, the last year and a half, so that's why I say the last 18 months, people have gotten sick of it. The Bloodline story is stale as a biscuit that's been in a barrel for months on end and not touched. And people are over... I mean, we know now. He's already been announced he's not at Survivor Series. He probably won't wrestle again the rest of this year. So this latter half of this reign to break records is just bullshit. I'm sorry, but Hulk Hogan, when I've never been a fan of Hulk Hogan. I don't like Hulk Hogan even as a person, but I will give him one thing. With his reign back in the day, which was a very lengthy reign, as we're well aware, I think it was over 4 years, obviously, he was wrestling night in, night out. He was doing house shows.
Yeah.
Right? And of course, he was a babyface, so he had no interferences, and he wasn't sitting at home. Hence why he's had so many surgeries on his hips and his back and God knows what else.
Yeah.
Right? That's the one thing. Whether you hate him or like him, right? That's the one thing.
He worked. He was a worker. He was.
Compared to Roman Reigns, he was there day in, day out. And as I said, doing house shows even. That weren't televised. This latter half of this reign, to get these records, it to me, makes this whole reign a shambles and insignificant.
Yep.
The first year and a half, I'll give it to Roman because he was wrestling regularly. But now, I mean, you pointed out on the last podcast, he's had, 9, 10 freaking matches this year?
Now it's 10. As of this weekend, it's 10, and 10. They weren't all for the belt.
10. Yeah, 10, right? John Cena, when he was full-time, was wrestling all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. And he's been part-time for a while, and yet he's probably wrestled more than... in the space of the last 2 months, and Roman's wrestled all year. All right?
Yeah.
So
and I think I pointed out too, the previous year he went, I think, 23 matches. I mean, most of them were before this time of the year.
Yeah.
So they were squeezed into the first three quarters.
Before.
Yeah.
He's done a lot of tag matches.
Yeah.
Right. Not a lot of defending, and that's why I hate these reigns. I don't care how long the reign's up, but if they're doing a lengthy reign, say over 6 months plus, but you barely see them. So they're only racking the days up because they're basically sitting. I just find bullshit. There's big asterisks against your name, and if they're going to have him beat Hogan's record, that might look good on your record books, but there's still going to be a big asterisk there because he's sat at home more often than not to get that record. You know, which I don't think is right. Like, if you want to make the record mean something, he needs to wrestle.
Yeah.
And
And what's sad is Heyman is a great storyteller, but he's letting this one. I don't know why he's letting this one sit.
yeah, why are we,
You know,
like, we both question why that need to be asked to Heyman. Why are you rehashing
Yeah.
shit every single match for him? You don't what you like? Are you do you think your audience is that stupid? Like, don't get me wrong. There probably is some real stupid, clueless fans out there.
Oh yeah.
Right. But I would say a good majority, a good portion of the audience, whether at home or in that crowd, are smart, and they're realizing this is the same crap each and every time. We Roman Reigns singles match comes on. We could probably sit there and tell you how it's going to go down before the match even happens.
Yep.
That's how predictable it's got with him. I don't even know how he can be okay with it. Like, how are you sitting there being okay with doing the same crap every single time? You don't want to surprise these fans in any way, shape, or form. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
like,
it almost feels like he's resting on his laurels too. Well, you know,
yes,
I don't have to wrestle. I don't have to do this because I'm Roman Reigns.
right.
Great, you know.
Yeah, great. But at the end of the day, you know, he should really be looking at it like, hey, Paul, look, I know we're going to break this record and that. Let's change up the finish a little bit. As I said, all it would take is for him to either win by himself or win cleanly, one or the other. That would change it up a bit.
I can't believe that Rikishi or The Rock aren't calling him up and going, "What the hell are you doing, dude?
Exactly.
Yeah, and get your ass out in the ring." You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Rock, what's up, brother? It's really getting beyond pathetic now, because this really is very, very lazy booking and storytelling. Very lazy.
Yep. And every time they talk about how long his reign is, I go, "But he hasn't wrestled.
Yeah, how much
But
of
he's
that?
not doing anything.
Yeah,
He's not doing anything."
Time out of those days that you talk about, you know, they keep mentioning, what did Cena mention? No, was it Cena?
Yeah.
Yeah, mentioned it himself.
Yeah.
You know, no, it was LA Knight. LA Knight said,
Yeah.
he's racked up, 1,200 days or whatever. You know, that's a feat.
Yeah.
How many out of those 1,200 days has he been sitting on his ass at home?
Well, this year almost 350 so far.
Yeah.
So,
I would say it would be well over a quarter of that he has sat at home to rack that up. Well over a quarter. I won't go as far as saying half, but I'll say well over a quarter. Well over a quarter of that. And that's to me,
and we haven't even touched on that. You know, it really showed last week when he was on the mic with the LA Knight. He has no mic skills comparatively. LA Knight was
LA
Knight was killing him on the mic, man. It was like, holy shit.
Even Paul's expression, and I know we do, but that said it all to me. I'm just like, even Paul Heyman, I think's like, oh damn, you know. Look, John Cena, even in their little feud, killed him on the mic. I mean, I think John Cena, like, when I see him on SmackDown before the pay-per-view with what he said in 90 seconds to Solo, kind of killed Solo.
Yeah.
And Paul's face in that was just funny as hell, like, where he's like, you're a cheap run-of-the-mill knockoff of Taz. You run around here like a tape up your thumb real nice, because the only place that's gonna go is straight up your ass.
But I gotta say, I think LA Knight's one of the best guys on the mic right now.
He is.
I really do.
What? Look, I think he is the best that they've got on the microphone.
Yeah.
He is a natural. I seriously think the day he was born, he came out of his mum with a microphone in his hand. Like, honestly.
Well, because he's got that cocky, stone cold attitude, and he does it well.
Yeah. You know, and he can really talk. Really talk, you know. And you can tell he's not at any point sitting there thinking about what it's just fluid. He knows what's going to say, you know. And look, he owned Roman Reigns on the microphone. I think the only reason this whole feud between the two was interesting was because of him. If it had been Roman going up against anyone else, I would have said the whole damn feud Not just the match, but the
Yeah.
whole damn feud was boring.
The only the parts that I had fun with, because he doesn't hold up on the mic with him, but he works well with him, is Paul. Paul works well with Knight on the mic, because Paul
Yeah.
goes from being that cocky, I'm Paul Heyman, to, oh my God, please don't kill me, please don't,
Exactly.
yeah.
Well, that's what I
Yeah.
mean. That it would make
Yeah.
things even worse for Roman. You'd agree if he didn't have Paul, because Roman
Oh,
can't really talk
absolutely.
that well on the mic.
No, no, he can't. He can't carry. He really, he looks tough. He looks mean, but he doesn't talk
Yeah.
tough. You don't believe what he's saying. You know. And I think that's why when
Yeah.
Knight stood up to him, you could say, okay, I could see Knight standing up to him, because I don't believe him either. You know.
Yeah, exactly. He just
Yeah, it's
can't do nothing without, as I said, without, and that includes on the microphone.
right.
But as I said, this reign.
Yeah, this reign needs to end, and
It does.
I really wish they wouldn't do it till next June to end it. It's like,
No, like I know you're having your heads that you want to break up, but look, this whole thing with him and even the blood, it's gone on too long now. I've said this numerous times. They really should have ended not only the Bloodline storyline, but ended his reign at WrestleMania with Cody last year, earlier this year. Sorry, that's
well,
where it is.
and even though I took shit on Twitter, you can tell if you go back and watch the pay-per-view, he didn't get the crowd reaction that I think he was hoping.
Oh, he didn't.
He really didn't.
No, because nobody, people in this last 3 years, for also a good portion, they're all there, they're all right behind him, even though he's a big heel and that. He hasn't been getting that reaction for a while now. People are
No, and
over
I do think that part of the reason for this long reign that they got themselves into was because of COVID.
Yeah.
For the year that they couldn't be in front of a crowd, so they had all the monitors set up and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's one of the only reasons he's still in there.
Yeah.
I think if it would have been a regular 2 years during that time period, we wouldn't still be looking at Roman holding the belt.
Oh, hell no. Hell no. And I mean, you're not wrong there. And this is why I think it needs... me and you both said, and we agree on this whole thing on every point here on the road. Right, but we both said, didn't we not, like earlier in the year after WrestleMania, that they were going to frickin' struggle to draw this out, and boy have they. Hence why they've said you're sitting at home, right?
Yep. You know what's sad is I had the perfect idea, and that when they did that whole thing with the tribal council thing, that they should have brought out the tribal council.
Yep.
Who should have called him on his shit for being helped during tribal combat.
Yep. That would have injected,
because then they could have stretched it out. They could have interjected some more energy into it.
Yes.
To say you cannot win tribal combat by having 6 people help you.
Yes.
No.
Look, I even think the two brothers, I know they're doing a bit of a slow build, but their little storyline that they got going on to build their match at WrestleMania is more interesting than anything Roman's doing. You know? And it is really their time to shine now. And I would even go as far as to saying both those boys are more talented than him. They're more talented in the ring. They're more talented on the mic by themselves. Both of those boys, Jimmy and Jay, right?
Yep.
This is what I'm hoping
what
for,
they need
man.
to do with them. What they need to do with them is they need to start giving them a reason, give us the viewer a reason for this feud between them.
When he finally does,
Because right now we really don't have a really solid reason.
when he finally does drop that belt, all I can say is go away. Just go to Hollywood and stay in Hollywood for a while. Like I don't want to see his mug on any show for a long time, because we've all seen it there. I mean, yes, granted, this year he's been away more than he's been on there, but we've seen it too much. And as I said, people are over this whole reign. People are over this bloodline storyline. It ran its course and should have finished, as I said, at WrestleMania, or at least not long after WrestleMania this year.
So if you do that, if he goes away, who do you pass Heyman off to?
Well, you could look. I've said the whole time, if they because there's obviously been teasers of Gunter, that little team disbanding, right? Because he's
I was going to mention that too because that's starting to look more and more like it's going to happen soon.
yes.
That
Paul Heyman
Gunther
would go really well with Gunter. He would suit Gunter down to a T. I think, like as a mouthpiece.
for the same reason that he suits Roman because he's better on the mic. Yeah.
Yes. Although I must say, I would rather sit there and listen to Gunter on the mic than Roman. I think Gunter can actually talk on the microphone a bit better than Roman.
Yeah.
But Paul would help him. And it would be a good pairing. I actually think he would be a good pairing for this heel version of Shinsuke.
Oh, that would be cool. Actually,
That would be an interesting pairing. So there's a few
that would actually give me flashbacks to like Bobby Heenan and some of his teams that he had.
Yeah. There's a few individuals I could see pairing. If you were to fully turn Drew McIntyre heel, that would be another good pairing as well. Who else? If you're bringing Bron Breakker up soon and as this badass heel that you got, again, another good pairing, it would be like, how he was teamed up with Brock, just a beast machine, So there's a few names just there that I've rounded off that you could put him with. And that's if
but
he
the other
wanted
thing
to
they need to figure out what to do with Solo. Because I don't see Solo holding out on his own very long.
No.
He's not an exciting person.
No,
outside.
he's a mid-carder at best. I don't ever view him. He's in the same light as Dynamite. I don't ever view him as a main eventer.
He's basically.
You know what?
And basically, he's a strong man. He doesn't really.
I don't even think he's a good
yeah.
pairing. Like Paul's a good pairing for him. I just don't think it is. Not compared to the other names I just rattled off. But look, for Paul, before you'd team him with someone, I'd give him a break. He's been going, for a while. Go home, enjoy family time for a bit, and then refresh yourself, and then come back, and we'll see who you fit well with, and go from there.
Or even if he doesn't want to do that, okay, we're not going to have you out front for a while, but help us write some stuff besides what you've been doing.
Yeah.
Help us flesh out some of these other storylines.
I enjoyed SmackDown when he was the head writer of SmackDown. Make him the head writer of SmackDown again. I would.
Yeah.
But no, look, this man, I can't wait for the day.
I know. We both know Roman needs to go away. I
can't wait for the day to him to drop it because, as I said, they're struggling right now. They really are to keep interest in his title reign. They really are. Yep. I think fans are over it. As I said, I think they've been over it for at least 6 months now. And
I think they didn't do him any favors by moving him to Friday night either.
No, exactly.
I think they were hoping he would carry the main roster over there, but he doesn't. If anything, it had the opposite effect.
Exactly. And look, he, I think this has gone too long. That's the issue. They hit a wall 6 months ago, and they've just kept trying to, I guess, beat a dead horse.
And like we both said, they missed some opportunities that they could have done. They really did.
Exactly. That could have helped draw this out. And because they missed on those, and because, there's a few good things that you brought up that they could have went, it's just made this even worse. And so...
Because they really didn't do any follow-up to the whole
people are so...
Because he stopped wrestling after that.
Exactly. And
he really did.
People are so bored and drained of this whole thing now.
And I think when he does show up, they're like, okay, whatever. Because like you said, we know what to expect. We know what's going to happen. We know he's not going to drop the belt.
No, exactly. And now we definitely know he won't be this because he's not going to be wrestling by the looks of things for the rest of this year. He's definitely not at Survivor Series. Which he should be. He should be leading a 5-man team in the War Games match there. But no, granted, he'd have three of them. I don't know. I was just sitting there thinking there'd be 3 of them. I don't know 2 other people that he could round out to get because, He hasn't got too many friends.
Well, yeah, because he's got Uso, he's got Solo, and
Solo.
he's got that JD, right? What's his the one who keeps trying to weasel his way into the.
Oh no, that's to
Oh,
do with
that's the other
Judgment
one,
Day.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
there's some, but Paul Heyman's been reaching out to people too. So I mean, you never, it's like,
Look,
but they need to
the only
figure something
way,
out.
yeah, and I hope we know that they're not listening, but God, if they are listening, the only way
Yeah.
you're going to add new life to this Roman Reigns reign and the Bloodline storyline to continue until he's ready to take the belt off him is go
Yeah.
out to the independent scene. They got a big family, and bring in some new talent. And there's two of his
Yep.
cousins that just left MLW, right? That they
Yeah.
could bring
Yep.
in. Like they
I did. Yeah, I did
new.
see an article saying that here's who they should bring in for new blood for the bloodline. I'm like,
Yes.
I don't remember who it was, but I'm like, yes, they need to do something
Yes. They do.
because the one Solo by himself is not enough.
No.
Even though he's fun to watch. I mean, he's fun to watch in the backstage stuff just because he's so, you know, he actually is fun to watch. Unlike Solo, who is a one note person backstage in the ring. He's just one note.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I'd rather watch
So-
Solo in the ring than that bloody
Yeah.
other big boy. What's his name? That you always point out how boring and slow and crappy. He is.
Oh, you're talking about yeah, what's his name?
The
Reed
real
or
big-
whatever.
Yeah, Bronson
yeah.
Reed. Yeah, I'd rather
Bronson
watch a
Reed,
solo match than a Bronson Reed match, but that's not saying much either.
No. Though it'd be fun to watch Solo in a Bronson Reed match because Solo would run toward Bronson and kind of bounce off the blubber and just kind of.
Oh dear, but no, look, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking.
Because it's gotten to the point now where they go, when he does show up, I'm like, okay, here we go, because I don't care. I've
All
never
I know
been a big
is
fan of his
whoever
anyway.
Whether it's Cody or whoever they have actually end the reign, are going to be like the roof is going to go off whatever blow off whatever building they're in when it happens, because it'll just be more of a relief.
I think the
yes!
two.
Oh.
I think that the two strongest choices right now are Cody and Knight. Those are the two that the house would go nuts.
Yeah.
Because Cody's got the house behind him anyway.
Unfortunately, this is the interesting thing, is where they go now and what they're going to do with LA Knight. They better not drop the ball and just have him go dropping straight back into mid card and,
No, they shouldn't, because
no. Look, at the end of the day, now that they've had him lose, and Roman's not wrestling for the rest of this year, I think obviously that the plan is, and I think it's obviously been the long-term plan the whole time, Cody's going to be the one to dethrone him. Just good.
You
God.
did not say that for a long time. For the longest time, you disagreed with me on
No,
that.
I did.
And
No. I
to
said
prove it.
no. I myself. You're right on that. But I'm saying that the long-term plan for them, as in WWE, has obviously been for Cody Rhodes to dethrone him. And I've said, if they didn't move his match, which they had a chance recently to do the trade of Jay going to Raw and him going over Smack, but they didn't do it. So I'm still predicting that he wins the Royal Rumble, and they better have him entering 1 or 2 this time, not last,
Right.
to add to it. And he wins the Rumble, and then he picks Roman, and that's how they get to that match. Because they've got to get there somehow, and
Right.
that seems the only logical way now. Unless another trade happens where they send in Cody over there, that's it. But I don't see that happening. So it's got to be the Royal Rumble, and I tell you what, if there's no trade and he doesn't win the Royal Rumble, then I'm going to turn around and go, well, maybe they've changed plans, because how would you even get him there then? He's not on SmackDown. If he doesn't win the Rumble and someone else does, how do you get to that story point? I'll be like, no, they've screwed him again.
Yeah.
They're doing to him what they did to his dad. That's how I'd look at it. But As I said, the day I think it happens, I think I'll pop some champagne. It'll just be relief, man, because you know, they may have been able to pull this crap off back in the day with, you know, your Brunos and your Hogans, and I mean Hogan
Right.
was uber popular in that '80s period, especially in the early '90s. Like, but that was different time. Now, like that first 2 years, I'll
Yep.
give it. You know, okay, cool, yeah, it worked.
Yeah.
But now as I said, for about the last 6 months, we're at a point that nobody cares about this anymore, and
Yep.
it's time.
And
Well
and,
and truly
and
time.
also back then we didn't have the 24-hour news thing that were telling us everything that's going to happen. You know,
No,
it's like,
exactly,
yeah,
exactly. But you don't need that. I mean, look, wrestling fans, me and Paul could tell you how Roman Reigns' future matches are going to go
yeah,
down.
yeah.
Unless the match is at WrestleMania and it's against Cody or LA Knight, we can tell you how it's going to go down. We can tell you how it's going to end. It's that
Right.
predictable, and that's why I'm annoyed at them. Is they just haven't done anything to change it up. Like,
Yeah.
cool, we all have a feeling that, you know, because we all basically know that you're trying to make him or have him break a record, right? So it's one thing to
But see,
know
to
that he's
me,
going to win.
but I've said this before that I think that if they really wanted to drive some energy into it and surprise everybody, let him drop it before WrestleMania. I don't care if it's
Yeah.
fucking a week before WrestleMania. You know, it's
And
like,
like
oh,
I was
didn't make
saying
it. Poor
earlier,
baby.
like we
Yeah. Yeah.
know, or most people would know going into a singles match with him until they obviously know he's going to win. But for God's sakes, change the way he goes about winning.
Right. Yeah.
That would, even that, I know it's might seem something small, but it would still be better than doing the same formula over and over and over and over and over again. As I said, whether that's
Yep.
him doing it on his own cleanly, or him doing it on his own and he's the one who pokes someone in the eye and does something, or low blows and
Yeah.
right. But at the end of the day, it still would be a change because there would
Yep.
be no one else interfering.
I think I've even suggested, I'm going to keep suggesting what they need to do is a cage match. I'm dead serious.
Yeah.
Do a cage match where nobody else can get in the fucker. Okay.
And
So,
I mean,
you know.
if anything, having him win, even if he does win with a low blow, but just still having him do it on his own, I
On
think
his own.
strengthens not just his character.
Yeah.
You build him as this big bad badass that can't be beat. Well,
Yeah.
how do you expect the fan base to believe that when he's constantly got help?
Yep.
That to me doesn't
wait,
scream big bad badass.
to me, it's like in video games when you say, "Oh, I beat this game. I use cheat codes, but I beat the game." Well, then you didn't beat the game.
No, you
You
had
know,
help.
you have nothing to be proud of. You had help.
No.
You know.
So that's
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
I think even before he drops it, if he's going to have a couple more matches before he actually drops it, have him win on his own. I don't care how he grabs someone by the nuts
Yeah.
and then lift them up. I don't care. Just on his own,
Yep.
no interference. Because at least
And
then,
not a tag team. We're talking about
No.
a title match.
Yeah.
No.
at least then you can say, hey, he is unbeatable, you know, look at him, he can do it on his own, you know, like, because I hope the next little feud he gets into, whether that's again with LA Knight or whoever, they bring that up. Like, I'm supposed to believe you're big bad Roman Reigns? Like, you're undefeatable? Well, if you're undefeatable, why does it take 3 or 4 of you to help you win? Can you win on your own? Like, I want to see someone call it out and say, can you win on your own? Can you tell Paul and can you tell the other two to stay in the back because you got this? Can you do that?
Yep. What's funny is, like Cody's called the Judgment Day out for that crap.
Yes.
Why doesn't anybody call Roman out for that crap?
Yeah.
You know?
Maybe Cody's the one who does call him out, so you can't win on your own. He's supposed to be this big bad Samoan, like, have a look at you, and you can't win. Have a look at you. You're built like your cousin. You're built like The Rock, and you can't win on your own. He could win on his own.
Yep.
The Rock could win
You
on
beat
his own.
me. You beat me with help. You beat LA Knight with help. You beat so and so with help. It's like
Even The Rock, when he was a heel, a lot of the time won on his own. Yeah, he may have won in circumstantial fashion, whether it was a low blow and then he done his people's elbow, but he still did it on his own a lot of the time.
Yep.
He didn't need outside help. There was a couple of times, when he was a part of the corporation, I believe it was. You know, Vince or Shane may have come out to help him, but majority of the time, he would do it on his own. Even if it was in a cheating manner, he'd still do it on his own.
Right. Which we haven't, like you said, we haven't seen Roman do that in probably the better part of 3 years.
A match here, a match there, having interference, that's fine, you know, because you're a heel group, you're a heel, you know, wrestler. But goddamn, as I said, we've seen plenty of heel wrestlers over the years. Like Brock Lesnar's been a heel more than he's been a babyface, and he's done it all on his own. Paul Heyman may have been on the outside, but Paul Heyman didn't do nothing for him other than, you know, talk. You know, so there's been plenty of heels that have won on their own accord. Didn't matter in what fashion they won, but they've done it on their own accord. Didn't have 1, 2, 3 guys coming in. You know,
the other way I would like to see them do it, if they're gonna keep doing, is tell them, look, you can't have any interference. We're gonna have 2 refs, one inside the ring, one outside the ring. Anybody else come to the ringside that is not involved in this match, you automatically lose.
Yeah, this is where they need Stone Cold come back as a special ref. Stone Cold stun every motherfucker. You come down to this ring, boy. I'm gonna stun your ass.
Can you imagine Stone Cold and LA Knight on the night mic together?
Oh my god!
Holy crap, that would be fun.
Yeah. Oh hell yeah! Yeah. Oh hell yeah! But no, great conversation. But that's all we've got for you this week, folks. It wasn't a heck of a lot other than the pay-per-view this week.
That
and
sad pay-per-view.
Yeah, it was. And NWA ruining their TV chances. But thank you everybody, from Trin to Timad to Rourke. Who else do we have up in here? Dreadpool, of course, and all the lurkers who stayed with us. We appreciate all your support. We appreciate you all. Hope you've enjoyed the show. And Paul, did you want to let the fine folks know where they can find you? Everywhere they can find you.
Okay, you can find me on Twitter, formerly called X, or is it the other way around? I don't know anymore.
I'm confused.
Sir, at Cerebral Paul 1. You can find me on Twitch at Cerebral Paul. You can find me on the Xbox Ambassador channel Tuesday afternoons at 12:30 p.m. Pacific, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Or you can find me, and then you can find me here on 4GQ TV on Mondays for the Pop-Up Powerbomb podcast, or Thursdays for 4GQ TV, and sometimes on Wednesdays with the Backlog Bastards. And let's see, Friday with Wasted with Wise.
Wasted with Wise. I was going to say, I nearly, because he's called it X, you nearly want to call it sex.
And who knows? Maybe this week I will actually get wasted. I don't know. Maybe we'll see.
Or either that, or just save it for when Roman finally drops the belt. That'd be something worth getting wasted for at this point.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
We waited so goddamn long. It's finally happened. I'm cracking open this can. Oh dear, but no, you can find me, of course, at SpookyTBG on the app formerly known as Twitter. You can find me under that name also on Steam and the PC and the Xbox app as well if you're a gamer. And you can find me here every Monday and Wednesday evenings. Mondays with the Pop-Up Powerbomb, and Wednesdays with the Backlog Bastards. But until next time, everybody, I hope you all have a great rest of your evening or day, wherever you may be in the world, and enjoy the rest of your week. Good night, everybody.